He was a large, powerful-looking man, his skin almost white. His clothing had been taken off and he lay there naked. It was a few seconds before I realized his head was cut off. Next to Saigo lay Karino, and then Murata. Saigo's was the only headless body, but the others were a fearful sight to look at. Their heads were dreadfully cut up, and it was quite evident that they killed each other. No doubt their heads would all have been cut off by their own people had time permitted. While we were looking at the bodies, Saigo's head was brought in and placed by his body. It was a remarkable-looking head, and anyone would have said at once that he must have been the leader. So this quote was from a letter by Captain John Capon Hubbard. He was writing to his wife about the end of the Satsuma Rebellion in 1877. The end of the rebellion basically came about with the final battle where Saigo Takamori's forces were basically decimated and surrounded. And the myth goes that he committed seppuku and had his head cut off and the head was hidden. We now know that he was actually wounded in battle. His body was dragged back, and while the samurai were preparing, the last 300 samurai or so were preparing for their final charge against imperial forces, they cut off his head. The two people that are talked about who are also dead next to him cut off his head, and then they tried to cut each other's head off, and they just hacked at each other until they died. And someone else must have hid the head. Now, this is important because if you are able to hide somebody's head, like the leader of a rebellion, then you're able to create a mythos of he might still be alive, so the rebellion must keep going. Things like that happen. So when they found his head and they brought it back and they put it next to his body in front of the imperial commanders and the imperial and members of the imperial family, this was very important because it really did end the Satsuma Rebellion. There was no argument as to whether or not he was actually dead. He is. Here's his head. And when Hubbard wrote this to his wife, this became a very famous kind of quote at the time because it just kind of starts to describe how Japanese deal with the defeated, the bodies of the defeated. And it seems barbaric at first, but it actually isn't. It's a way of dignifying your enemy. And it's also a way for you to having your head cut off by your subordinates as a way to, make sure that whatever it is that you were doing is basically kind of sanctified, if you will, so that the public consciousness will go, oh, he died fighting kind of thing. So this is kind of it's kind of grisly, but also the other reason why I wanted to point that out is that, Saigo Takamori is like I say, considered to be in Japanese history, the last samurai. There are samurai families currently, but the last actual fighting samurai is considered to be Saigo Takamori. There was a really bad movie called The Last Samurai. It was starring Tom Cruise and a bunch of good Japanese actors, but they really destroyed the actual story of Saigo Takamori. But yeah, so that's what that quote was all about. I know, grisly, but I just wanted to throw a little history at you guys. So there you go, and let's go on to the next part of this, which is what's happening with the channel starting on March 10th when the new season starts. Let's get into that. Okay, so what are we doing for the 2025 season of the Unagi Observer? Well, as we all know, this is primarily anime centric. We do talk about other things, Asian culture, other fandoms like comic books, science fiction, gaming, things of that nature. So, we talk about a lot of different stuff, but it's mostly anime. So, of course, we will be talking about anime. Now, there's going to be a secondary driver this season, and I'm going to talk a little bit more although I'm going to talk mostly about anime, I'm going to talk a little bit about science fiction itself, and I'm going to talk about some books and some movies that you guys might enjoy. So that's going to be the secondary push. Now, in each season, of course, we have a little theme where I do 5 episodes based on a theme, and then we do a watch party after the 5th episode. So the theme this season is going to be Toonami / Adult Swim. So I'm going to talk about the history of that, and we're going to talk about a little bit about the anime that appeared on Toonami and Adult Swim. Some of it will be a rehash. I've already talked about it before, and some of it might be new. And as for the watch party, what I'm thinking of trying to do is recreate an evening of Adult Swim. So about 4 to 5 hours worth of Adult Swim / Toonami. So hopefully that will interest you and keep you coming back and watching the videos, which I do appreciate that you do. So there is going to be next week, in addition to this video, I'm saying next week because I'm doing this the week before. It's a time thing. Anyway, so there'll be a second video, uploaded after I upload this one, and it's going to be based on a Genshin Impact run through of a particular domain. It's about 50 minutes, 50 minutes long. So that's why I wanted to separate it out, so in case you didn't want to watch it, and just want to concentrate on this. So on March 10th will be the beginning of the season. So for those of you who are interested in Genshin Impact and haven't played it yet, this will give you an idea of what it looks like. It's a lot of fun. You'll get to see me fail at various tasks, trying to get this thing done. But it gives you, I think it'll give you a good idea. And for those of you who have played this particular storyline, this might be a nice refresher for you. And for those of you who are trying to figure it out, maybe this might help you. I don't know. Hopefully it'll help you. So again, March 10th is going to be the beginning of the season. We're going to be talking a little bit about science fiction. The theme is going to be Toonami / Adult Swim. And as always, we will be talking about anime as the major fandom, in addition to all the other stuff. So yeah, there we go. Thanks as always for you guys for watching this. I hope to see you out there in the world, maybe at a convention. So that means that you guys stay healthy, stay good. Love you guys. And as always, watch more anime.